I was over at the summit yesterday.
You?
Yes. I was at the summit yesterday.
I see you're more of a Valleydale Village.
I'm a
Publix guy. This is
Dollar General kind of guy. Not quite Dollar General. I'll spend a little more dollars. But I was at Public or at Summit, and I went there because they had these. I was at Trader Joe's. You ever been to Trader Joe's? You're a Trader Joe guy. I can tell you're a Trader Joe.
I've been waiting 20 years for that place to get here.
I'd never been there until a couple weeks ago.
Smells nice in there, like Whole Foods.
Yeah, I don't like the people that shop there. They're weird and they get in your way.
Well,
like there's no.
Yeah.
People they're kind of rude.
No, well, the problem.
People checking out are super nice. Trader Joe's a nice place. I would take their money if they're super nice. Super nice.
The people,
but the people that shop there are a-holes.
Because it's because there's only one. Oh God, we live sometimes. I mean, I love this city, but it is so like. Now I'm gonna sound like LA snob. Trader Joe's in LA, which has been around for 20, 30 years. There's lots of them. I mean, there's like not on every corner. And here we got like this one big beautiful one, which is awesome. But everyone and their freaking brother goes there. It's packed. The people who work there are amazingly nice, but you're right. And the other thing about Trader Joe's is it pulls a really interesting mix of people. Like
that's a good. Yeah, and I've been there twice. I probably spent an entire 45 minutes in the joint. I walked up and down the whole place because I was looking for something yesterday. Because
what the hell were you looking for?
I'll get to that in a second.
It's like
but the people there really come across as mightier than thou.
Yeah.
Like this is my place. Get the hell out of my way.
Yes.
And they sense the fact that I'm not a regular.
Yes.
And so they were really.
But not the people who work there. Let's.
No, the people who work there.
I love people who work there.
No, almost patronizingly nice. What can I do for you, sir? Are you looking for something? No, they're not. I said almost.
Yeah.
I said almost. I was kind of like, I'm good. I'll look around a little because I like to try to find my stuff first. I like to find it on my own. It's like directions. I'll figure it out, and then last resort is I'll ask somebody.
I'm looking for. I can't find
which is what I did.
Black bean.
But anyway, the people there not real nice, and I was a couple times, hey. And they were
nobody's friendly there,
and no mask. Which I was really surprised because the first time I went there it was all masked up. Last time
they were really on the cutting edge of. I mean, and in fact, I don't know if you remember, they were really one of the first to limit the number of people that went in there.
Yeah.
So what? No mask.
Well, yeah.
We got no mask.
It's because someone at the door is like, I'll allow that person in, I'll allow that person. They don't look right. We're going to leave them in the parking lot.
Come on.
Yeah, because the people that shop at Trader Joe's were a-holes. Anyway.
That's
the people work there are super nice.
I
But if you shop at Trader Joe's, you know who you are.
I shop
and
there.
You know the high pumps and the whole they get dressed up to go shopping.
No, that's not that. It's that plus.
That's how I felt.
Okay,
because I went in there with a T-shirt with a stain on it.
You can do that.
Yeah. Well, they gave me the look. Like
no, now you're just insecure.
Well, it could.
Plus
be.
the aisles are lower.
Yeah.
So, like, for you, it's a hard place because, Publix, they got whatever. It's a much.
Well, if you've never been there, you don't know where the hell anything is.
Even if you've been there.
Even if you've been there, because it's all very specific. It's the same crap. It's repackaged, but it's very specifically named types of. I could see where people get off on it, but it's
I love it. They got great chutneys.
So they had haunted house gingerbread houses. And I bought one about 3 weeks ago for the kids, and we built it this weekend, and my son was moving it from the kitchen table or whatever. This is one of those things where I think he dropped it on purpose.
Because
he felt really bad about it because my daughter and I did it, and he wasn't part of the fun because he didn't want to be part of the fun. And so he dropped it, and it went into a million pieces. And to my daughter's benefit, she goes, "It's okay, Santo. It's just a gingerbread house. It's over." And I was like, "Yeah, Santo broke it." And I was kind of pissed off because we spent like an hour on it. I was like, "That's cool, whatever. It's a gingerbread house."
Off the ground?
No, but he was sweeping it up, and So anyway, I went back to see if I can get another one because they had this huge display of like thousands of them, and they were out of them. He's like, "Yeah, I usually hold some back here, but I don't have anything left." Blah blah. I said, "No problem." So I'm pulling out of the summit, and I'm getting to one of these lights, and I guess the AT&T store is on the other side, where the Cheesecake Factory and all that crap is, and there was a green light, right? And I'm taking a left. And the woman coming across, they never go straight there. They're always turning. She didn't have a turn signal on. I thought she didn't, and I cut her off, right? And of course
she laid on the horn.
I could see her. I'm like making eye contact with her, so there's no reason really to blow the horn if you want to let everyone else know that I made a driving snafu here. Yes. If that makes you feel, if you got time to lay on the horn, you got time to hit the brake.
I do both.
Pedal or the gas.
I do both.
Now I'll honk the horn if someone's sitting at a light or hey, by the way, get your attention.
Be very careful.
But I was looking right at her because I almost had a head-on collision.
Yeah,
and I'm like, and she's and I was like, chill out. So I was like in a wonderful mood yesterday, and I was like, so I stopped. So my car's kind of in front of hers. So she either had to go around me to go through the light, or I had to back up. That's how, because I had pulled in front of her.
Okay.
Said, put my hands up.
Okay.
The white flag. Hey, and I looked at him. She's right there. She's sitting right there. Like that's how close
that's
we're.
Uncomfortable.
And I said, hey, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry I wasn't paying attention.
Which is very Southern of you.
And of course, she gives me the bird.
Really?
Oh yeah, it goes off.
After you said that?
Yeah, and I'm kind of like,
Now I wonder where she was from.
All right.
She wasn't from here.
And she's like all pissed off, and then she's taking the thing, and I'm like, dude.
What kind of car?
First of all, it's the Summit.
What kind of car?
Roughly. It was probably a Lexus.
And she flipped you the bird.
Or a Mercedes. It was a high price. Well, there's in the
SUV?
Summit. It was in the Summit, and I'm driving a minivan.
But
so
SUV?
I wasn't welcome there, huh?
Was it SUV or a car?
Kind of an SUV style kind of thing, yeah.
I was surprised.
And so I'm like, listen, you're shopping at the Summit. How bad can it be for you, right?
Well, yeah.
So I was like, I'm sorry, just apologize, let me back up. I backed up, and she drove off, and
she flipped you.
Like, so
that's okay.
So I don't want to be hypocritical. Practice what you preach. So what did we just talk about last week? I don't know what kind of day she was having.
Oh, yeah.
She could have been in a hurry.
Yes.
She could have just had a loss of life in her family.
Right.
She could be going through depression. She could be just a bitch, but I don't think...
She might have intermittent explosive disorder.
She could have...
That's a real thing, by the way.
Really?
It is. No, it is. And it has nothing to do with diarrhea.
Is that like spontaneous combustion?
No, it is called intermittent explosive disorder. It's a psychiatric diagnosis. She may be suffering from it.
Well, she was suffering from something because I was like totally I'm really sorry, and I mean,
after a point, you got to just like,
and I was like,
you're very good about.
I smiled.
That. You're so good about.
Then
that.
I thought maybe I should see. The other day I was at Winn-Dixie.
You get out a lot.
No, I just have things happen to me when I do.
Okay.
I was at Winn-Dixie the other day over there in Inverness Corners, and I love Publix. My son works there.
Yes.
But they don't have Tasty Cake chocolate donuts, and they know I love my Tasty Cake chocolate donuts. It's my go-to every Saturday and Sunday morning.
My grandfather.
Miniature chocolate donuts usually suck. They crumble and they fall apart, and they're kind of mealy. Tasty Cake chocolate donuts are the best, and my kids love them. Oh, well, I do, but they don't ever have them at Publix. They have the powdered ones, but they don't have the chocolate ones. So I've called them. I've left my phone number. I've and there's a third party thing, and Tasty Cake does this thing where they're not really with their distribution center, and so they bring their own stuff in. And I said, let me call them. My son's like, order some off Amazon. I'm like, I'm not ordering donuts off Amazon.
You want me to order some off you for down Amazon?
So Winn-Dixie has them in those little individual packs. And so I buy 10 packs a week.
Oh, my God.
Because my kids like to eat them that way. And that's my go-to, big glass of milk and about 3 packs of them things on Saturday, Sunday morning. I'm going to go.
You sure you're not Jewish? I swear, you sound like my grandfather. This is what my grandfather used to do. He'd go to like 17 different stores to get all his stuff. Sure?
I don't, there's not a whole lot of things I have to have.
Right.
But my donuts is like.
Did you ask Trader Joe? They might carry something like that, but organic.
I didn't feel welcome there, so I got out.
No, see, you need to talk to the people who work there.
And I was being judgmental of everybody in the store.
You were, because
someone would bang into my cart, and I was kind of like, oh. And I mean, the aisles.
The carts are little.
Yeah, but the aisles are pretty wide. So I'm sitting there in front of the Winn-Dixie waiting to get out, and my back tires got hung up on the speed bump. Okay.
Why?
Because I was going up and there was people walking, so I stopped. And so my back wheels were resting right on the back side of a speed bump, right? And so there's 2 women walking in front of me, and I went to give a little gas, and I didn't realize I was on the speed bump. And so I had to punch a little bit, and it made this in the parking lot.
You burned rubber in the minivan.
I did with the minivan.
The speed bump.
I may have a problem with my catalytic converter because it's not getting the gas it needs anyway. That's
okay,
but it runs fine. So she gives me this. And of course, the whole parking lot stops.
Well, because
I'm squealing tires in the parking lot, and I put the window down. Oh, it's okay. Sorry, I was caught up on a speed bump. And she looks at me. I said, because she was right in front of me, and I didn't want her to think I was burning rubber to chase her off, to make her, hey, get the hell out of my way. So I'm really sorry. Sorry about she was like, it's okay. It's like school. So I got caught up with the speed bump, and the wheels, and I was embarrassed. I was like, sorry. And of course, the manager comes out, and they're looking around because there's
nothing. You need to bring a camera with you. Like, you need to have a camera on you.
So I walk back in, I see her in the store, hey, blah, 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 blah. I think people are so distraught and uncomfortable around people being super nice. Now they think you're being an asshole.
Well, that's what I thought.
And I'm not.
Yeah.
I was like, sorry. I mean, that would have scared me a little bit. So to my point, you never know what kind of day people are having. So we have several.
This is wandering, man.
Yeah, we have several people who work at this radio station, Tony Kurre Radio, and because I am a small business,
yes, you are,
with a big signal.
Yes,
I don't have millions of dollars of investors behind me. I don't want that because I want to make all the money for myself and for Dr. Josh. Mm-hmm. And so we're getting blood out of a turnip every single day. Man, we're trying to figure out ways to, and then when we have the money, then I'll go crazy and splurge and probably be dead in 5 years. So this guy who comes over once, and he's great. He comes over whenever I ask him to. He comes over at nighttime, mornings. He's on the way into work. He's got a regular job, and he's like, I want to see this thing successful. He believes in what we're doing. He's fantastic, right? So I have him doing some things for the radio station, some imaging things, right? And he came over last week, and it wasn't what I was looking for.
Mm-hmm. You're very particular with that.
Well, it's super important because once it's done for a while, and it's got to sound right. Mm-hmm. It's got to have the right feel. It's got to be a rock and roll experience. It's got to be the right vibe. It's got to have attitude. And I tell my voice guy, Ken Osborne, Ken, don't smile when you read my stuff. Right. I want balls. This is Tony Kurre Radio. I want the biggest balls you got, right?
Okay.
So we're going through like thousands of those. Listen to those. Okay, I want number 3. I want number 7. I like the version of this one. I want half of this here. I want this moved over here. The end of this one doesn't sound right. So it's kind of a pain in the ass, right? But I thought that I was conveying that to him clearly. Now, sometimes I get a little ahead in my head, and I'll think that people understand what I mean, and I'm guilty of this, and then they don't understand, and then they think they're doing, and they want to please me, mm-hmm. and they try to do the right thing. And then I kind of go, that's not what I wanted, man.
Because you're not.
It's not right.
I got a tip for you on how to do that, but go ahead.
Thank you, please.
I'm going to. I do have.
And
a tip
I thought that I conveyed it quite clearly.
This happens a lot in business.
This is what I want. This is how I want it.
Yep.
Do you understand? I even played some examples.
Yes.
This is how I want it to sound, and it didn't come out that way. So I was like, I'm at a point right now where. This is my deal. This is my business, and I want it done right. But I understand that people have their own lives, and this guy's helping me, and I'm not paying him a whole lot. And so I thought, okay, back up. And I was ready to blow.
Really? This was yesterday?
Last week.
Okay.
So I was like, I was ready to go, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And it needs to be done 3 weeks ago, right? So because I'm waiting on Apple and I'm waiting on all these other things that I can't control, and it's pissing me off, and I'm getting frustrated.
Here we
right?
go. Good. Yes.
Okay. I want to lay down here a minute. So he says, listen. And he said, I'm sorry. I want to make it right. This is important, and it's got to sound right. And I said, I'll come back on Monday night. So normally on weekends, I worked a lot this past weekend, but normally I try to shut it down on weekends. I have my kids this weekend, so I tried not to do, and they wanted to come over Sunday. I was like, no, I'm not working on Sunday. It's the only day So he comes over last night, and he's got all this new imaging, and I'm kind of like, this better be right, And so he starts playing it, and it's wonderful.
Oh.
Yeah, right? I'm like, dude, that's great. And he's playing one after another. There were a couple things that was a little, because I wanted over the top.
I know you're very particular with it, yes.
And I said, that's wonderful, wonderful. And then he stops. He says, listen. He says, I got to explain something to you. And I said, and this is like 8:30 last night. And I'm tired. I've been up since 4. Yeah. I've been up for 18, 19 hours. I've been down here. He says, last week, my wife and I lost our baby. And I was really out of sorts, and I really wasn't in a good place to work last week, and I apologize. I had no idea. And I was like, dude, I am so sorry. And then of course, I'm thinking, whew, boy, I could have gone off on this guy.
Jeez.
Right? So there's another reason, to my point, let's be more compassionate, tolerant, whatever it is. Just realize that you don't know everything, and not everyone shares everything. They do on social media, but not everyone shares every moment with everything. And, I was sitting there because he was supposed to come Saturday, and he wanted to watch the Bama game. And I was like, okay, go watch the Bama game. That's cool. We'll get together next week. And I wanted to get things done. And so we sat and talked for a few minutes, and I was like, I'm so sorry. I've been through that process myself 4 different times with my ex-wife. And I said, it's horrible, and you never get used to it. And people, I had 4 or 5 miscarriages. But it doesn't matter. It's like, And so to my point was kind of like, thank you, Lord, for putting Mr. Calm in my head when he was here. And you know who he is.
Yeah.
And I was like,
terrible.
Yeah. So you never know what people are going through. And he's the kind of guy who will tell you what's going on.
Yeah.
But he needed to work through that little.
Well, that's a very. Yeah.
So I was like, whew, thank you for letting cooler heads prevail for me. So that really kind of reset my whole compassion button. So now I'm very compassionate today.
Okay, that was a long ass story. That we started at Trader Joe's and we went through Winn-Dixie and then we went.
My whole idea is just everyone needs to chill out.
So yes.
We got this whole vaccination crap. I'm over this.
We've got
people are just angry. Everyone's looking for a reason to protest.
Yes,
chill out.
But we're not. We're in a place where it's layer upon layer.
You say we
as collectively as a society, we're in a place where it's not just a thing.
Yep.
It's vaccination, it's economy, it's the politics, it's the rhetoric around all of that we hear.
Yep.
It's and I've said this. I've been out speaking, and I see something that I've never seen before that makes a lot of sense psychologically, but I never thought that I would live in an experience of this. It is the uncertainty. It is the constant attempt that we are trying to adapt to uncertainty that keeps becoming uncertain. And this is something that, you can, on the one hand, you could say, well, that's life. Life is uncertain. You never know. I'm not talking about that. Yes, life is uncertain. But if you think about it, we've had events, sort of national and global events. Mm-hmm. Again, 9/11 is a good example where there was uncertainty. What's going to happen next? But it took a path, and I'm not saying a resolve, but it took a path. This is what's going to happen, and then we got TSA, and then this thing between the pandemic, the politics, the social movements, it's constantly, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah, and
we as humans, we're super good at adaptation. Like, just give us a little bit of time, even if it's not healthy. We'll make it normal, right? Because that's what we're designed to do. Otherwise, you just got. But what's happening is, like, every day or every week, there's another wrench that gets thrown in it. So we're constantly, and we've been this way for a while. For you can argue 18, 20, 24 months. We're constantly trying to grasp onto what's normal. A great example. All the stuff's going on, and yesterday Governor Ivey, released her executive order that says we're not going to, as a state, uphold the federal mandate for vaccinations. I'm not getting political. I'm saying that's another bit of, okay, now there was a federal mandate, and now we as a state, we're not doing this. And
she's been in the forefront. She was the one that called out. She was the one that called out the anti-vaxxers, saying, you need to get your ass in gear.
But what I'm saying, but you see what I'm saying? It's constant. And then on top of it, here's the other piece that makes, I think, everybody twitchy. Our generation has never had a situation where we had to pull back into our houses. We've never had that, right? We've never had this. And so now we're emerging more and more, and people, I don't know how to say this. People are learning how to be human again with other people.
Yep. You talk about, another wrench or whatever. The majority of people I know, they talk about things. They know the world's changing as it is every single day. But it's not a wrench to them. It's just we're living in this weird time right now, and they're just getting through, and they're doing all the things that they used to do, and they're trying to be compassionate and nice to people.
Well, and you're working with good people.
But I still think that these groups of people that we see, because social media and information comes at us so fast and furiously, I still think they're small factions of people, and they are.
No,
they may be bigger now.
It's fueling. But it's fueling.
Well, it is, but I think for the most part, people are sitting on their hands. I think they get on Twitter and they go, "I'm agree with you. You're a piece of shit." Blah 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 blah, and then they sit there and they're still living their life. It's not changing their life. It's not changing their wrench.
But you see what that piece right there.
Yeah,
that piece right there.
It makes it feel a lot worse than it really is.
Yeah, but
is my point.
But that's enough to make people twitchy. Yeah. That's enough to make people feel twitchy.
I can get that, but I mean, it makes them feel twitchy in the way that they can't really control.
Yeah,
it's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. I ran into a friend of mine yesterday. I had lunch with him a couple of weeks ago, and he firmly believes that the liberals and Joe Biden are taking this entire country down the toilet to the point where it's over. Like, this country will never be the same. And I listened to him for a half an hour, and I get it. And he's not he wasn't a big Trump supporter. He's not a staunch conservative, but he really believes that with this trillions of dollars and everything's moving so fast, and the immigrants coming in at record levels, and airplanes flying into LaGuardia at 3:00 in the morning, and 3,000 people getting on a plane. He really believes
the country's over, that
it's like this is the beginning of the end. And this is a guy who's like 63, 64 years old. And I'm like, dude. Right. Did you have a bad jalapeno for lunch or something? What the hell's wrong with you? And he's a pretty even keel guy.
Yeah.
And he's a glass half full kind of guy.
But do you see
and
what
I had
I'm
to talk him up. Yeah, well, I know, but I talked him up the ledge like, and I was like, dude, what got into you?
What did he say?
Because it was probably, and I come to find out it was something much smaller.
Yes.
For him specifically.
Yes.
That he was looking for someone to blame.
Yes.
It was something with his Social Security check or something.
Yes.
He didn't get his extra prescription. Or he didn't get it was one little thing in his life that he ended up catastrophizing and tying to. I didn't get my prescription because Joe Biden did some Medicare thing and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Next thing you know, it turned into immigrants coming across our border. I'm like, dude, we got to stop catastrophizing.
I love that.
We got to stop. And I know this through, my Bradford days and all this stuff is like the worst thing. Like, you're talking, we do it in relationships all the time. I can't tell you, and I'm as guilty as the next guy. You're having an argument with your wife, and next thing you know, you're out in the front yard, you're having a divorce, and you're going, and you're like, whoa, dude, it just manifests itself into this huge thing, and you're having this argument with your wife or your husband in your head about something that doesn't even exist, and you're out there talking to yourself. Your neighbors are looking, going, "What the hell is he waving his arms for?" And then you realize that you've just catastrophized. We are really good at catastrophizing.
Well, we are,
because every little thing now seems like it's much.
We're also not good. We're also not good at emotional regulation. And when I say
emotional regulation,
I say emotional regulation. So there's a lot of men that say, I can compartmentalize. I just push my emotions away. That is not emotional regulation. That's called denial.
That's emotional compartmentalization.
And that's ridiculous and it's stupid. Emotional regulation is the ability to recognize I'm ramping up. Yep. I'm ramping up and I need to do something because my level of emotional intensity is not matching the problem at hand. Yeah. Now some of that does get driven. Well, it's kind of a chicken and egg thing. So some of it's driven by what we call the story you're telling yourself, right? What's going on inside your head. Mm-hmm. But and here's what the chicken and egg thing. But some of that is driven by the emotional intensity. So the more we get jacked up, the more we start. Here, let me just say it this way. The more we get jacked up emotionally, the more we start thinking like a crazy person. Yep. And the more we start thinking like a crazy person, then the more we get jacked up. And so the ability to recognize either that my thinking is not straight, or, which is hard, that's hard when you're jacked up, or the ability to go, okay, I'm ready to go put my fist through a wall, and we were only talking about, my whatever, I couldn't get the right prescription. That's the personal red flag, where you need to go, okay, this is Tony Kurre. I need to check it back.
Yeah.
I need to check it back, meaning I gotta get my emotions to match the situation at hand. And if I don't, that's when you get everything from we're having, we started off as you didn't unload the laundry to now we're having a divorce.
Yep.
Or we started off as I got the wrong prescription and now the country is completely imploding.